Hey, everybody, this is Rustin with Metal Nation, and I am speaking with the amazingly talented Marina La Torraca. I
Perfect.
of
That was
Phantom
good enough.
Elite, and of course of Exit Eden as well. But we're here today to primarily talk about Phantom Elite because you have a brand new album coming out, Titanium, next month. And it's a fantastic album. But before we get to that, how have you been surviving this year through all this COVID chaos and just the uncertainty of everything?
Yeah, it's not been the easiest year, but luckily enough, I do have a second profession, which is I'm a graphic designer,
Right.
so I can rely on that. Thank goodness. Yeah, so I've also been wanting to stop touring too much because the past years I've been touring with musical productions mainly
Right.
as a source of income, and or like let's say the biggest part of an income, and that was already not an option for me this year because I already didn't want to do it any longer. So the COVID thing kind of just helped me reassure this position I had taken. I was like, okay, now I don't have a choice anyway, now I have to
Forced
you
your
know
hand.
exactly, yeah. So yeah, but I've been wanting to focus more on let's say a studio career, or as a recording artist, as you say, because in if you're talking about a career in music, I do believe that it's more uncertain,
Right.
but it's more stable than going from job to job and audition to audition, in the musical theater world. And that leaves me quite little room for creativity, which is what I love the most in music. So,
Well,
yeah,
fortuitously, you have the talent for all of it. And now
thank
you
you.
you mentioned before we started, you're from Brazil, which we know, but you're living in Germany right now, aren't you?
Yes,
Right, because
exactly.
I saw you talking to Anna the other day, and I was like, I didn't realize she was over there too now. So,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah, yeah. So that's been 10 years already that I'm here.
holy crap.
And I came here with nothing related to music. Funny enough, I just wanted to learn German, and I came here for like I had some money, and I was like, I really want to go there and really want to visit Germany and do a crash course in German. And I ended up staying. That's really
And
what happened.
now you're trying to figure out how to get your driver's license.
Oh, I'm doing it. I had my first driver's license, the driving actual, lesson today.
Nice.
It's
Nice.
amazing. Yes, I'm better than I
So,
thought.
Titanium, as we mentioned, the second album for Phantom Elite is coming out on the
Yes.
22nd, 2021. We want to avoid 2020 if at all possible.
Yes.
But
Yes.
the entire record is fantastic, and you have to be pretty excited to get it out there after sort of being locked down for most of the year.
Yeah. Yeah. It's been horrible. I mean, just this, eagerness to just get it out there. It's been killing me the whole year. We have it ready since February.
Right.
And actually we had super cool release plans. I was talking to some people in Wacken, and it was quite a big possibility that we would do a press conference over there and have a great, band weekend at Wacken. And I was like, oh no, no way, this is not happening. It would have been great for the promotion of the album. Didn't happen yet, but it's okay. Maybe next year. Who knows? Even playing.
Exactly.
Who knows? Who knows? We don't know.
So, for most people, Titanium will be their introduction to the band, and it's kind of a
Yes.
unique backstory because you and Sander, probably going to butcher his last name too, Gomez, put this together
Good
several
enough.
years ago, but he doesn't actually perform in the band. Tell us
No.
how this all sort of came together.
Yeah, it's a bit of it's a funny, unusual band story. We started, let's say, about 6 years ago. I was just talking to Sander about having a band. I wasn't singing for so long, for years, and I was like, oh, I need to do this again. I'm looking for a band. Do you know a band? I just want to be in a band. And then he was like, you know what? I'm looking for musicians to start an HDK Live project. It's his studio
Right.
album, the project. And he doesn't play live anymore because it's just not his thing. He just admittedly stopped playing live because he doesn't like any of it. That's
which is
that's
weird
thing, you
because
know?
most musicians, that's where they live, is on stage.
Yes, yes, exactly. But I understand. He is a very creative guy. He's also very homey, you know. So I think he loves having time to create and be with his family. And there's a lot of stress involved in playing live. So I can understand why he doesn't like it. And yeah, so that's where we started. He was like, well, I'll help you out with a band, but I'm not in the band. I'm not going to perform. And we were like, okay, that sounds great. That's
But
how it started.
I'm assuming, you know, he's a songwriter and a producer. I'm assuming he's involved in the songwriting process along with you. How does that whole thing work within Phantom Elite?
Yes, that's a little is there's a little catch now because with Wasteland he was very involved with the songwriting. Let's say he wrote like 50% of everything with us, and he did produce everything. He even did he? No, he didn't mix the album. No, that wasn't done by him. But yeah, everything else was basically him and us. But this time, since also this wasn't a choice that he made or we made, it just happened like that, that he didn't have much time for Phantom Elite. We also didn't really know if things were going forward, or if we were going to stop at all, because yeah, we went through some very rough lineup changes and some personal situations with ex band members that were just, oh, you know, absolutely disgusting. And we were like, oh, well, you know, what's the point of doing this? Can we go on? And, but, you know, the two boys left and me, that's Yuri Varmerdam, the drummer, and Max Van Esch, the guitarist. We really pulled it through by, you know, by pure love for music. That's really absolutely the only thing that was in it. No money, nobody really, you know, pushing or helping us. Sander was always there for us. He was like, I'm going to keep helping you if you come up with music that's good enough. And at first, we were having some trouble trying this new style because let's say most of the songs were mainly instrumentally created by Max, who is a big fan of modern gent metal and stuff like that. And that's, you can hear that in the whole
there's
album.
some gentiness in there. Yeah.
Yes, yes. Also the drummer also belongs there. And I'm, let's say, the symphonic metal, you know, I'm the museum piece of the band who is making that connection with the more symphonic stuff and putting choirs everywhere, you know, and so that, but that's, hey, you know, we found a way of making that work, making these old and new work. And Sander, once he heard, I think 2 or 3 demos that we made, he was absolutely sold. He heard Diamonds in Dark, The Race, and I think one more from the album. And he was like, guys, I'm going to keep supporting you in whatever you need, you know, in production, in executive production. But he didn't write the songs.
So this was all you guys. And I was going to say, when I was listening to the album, I was blown away by the musicianship. I mean, I've always been a fan of your vocals and your songwriting, but yeah, Max, and I don't want to butcher his name, but your name?
Yuri. It's
Yuri.
Simply
Okay.
Yuri.
Okay.
Like
okay.
You know.
I'm trying too hard there. So those guys were just phenomenal. I was like listening to some of Mac's stuff going, where the hell has this guy been? You know? So it's
exactly what I asked myself when he joined the band. I was like, dude, how come you've never done anything like professional before? It was like, what? And no, they're incredible. They're incredible.
And there is an incredible blend and mix on this album of a lot of that, what we would call the symphonic metal scene, but with some more modern appeal to it. It's a totally different sound. It's like you can hear elements of bands as diverse as Lacuna Coil and Epica and Within Temptation and all those.
Yeah.
But you're still uniquely Phantom Elite because of the mix of those styles and how well they gel together. And one of the questions I was going to ask you was sort of how you saw moving from Wasteland to Titanium, how much of that sort of change was intentional or just a byproduct of the new writing? Sort of sounds like the latter there. But tell us about Titanium from your perspective, especially comparative to Wasteland.
Yeah, as you know, I've mentioned before, the lineup is completely different. So once again, Sander wasn't involved in the songwriting. The boys are all different. I'm the only one standing. The orchestral arrangements were also done by someone who worked with us in Wasteland partially. So he was, let's say, also there. And our live bass player is also the one in the Wasteland video. He's back with us now. It's crazy. But talking about the sound itself, yeah, let's say the new sound was not intentional at all. It's not something that said like, no, now we're gonna try hard to do this. It was more like, you know, what the new members wanted to do. And actually me too, like they already had that that reference, you know, the repertoire they have as musicians are more in that direction anyway. So if they're going to sit down and start writing music, it's not going to come from Epica, you know,
right?
Because they don't listen to Epica, they listen to Periphery, you know, and God knows what. They listen to a lot of new things.
But it works.
And, yeah, me too. But when it comes to my, let's say, repertoire, how I started writing music and stuff like, or also how I use my voice the best, it's still pretty, I have a modern approach. I do. I tend not to be stuck on the whole time, because that's just like, you know, well, everybody's tired of that. I mean, some people might like it, but I personally am. So yeah, I try to do stuff with my voice, but I still stick to very melodic, dramatic vocal lines, which is what works best for me. So it just turned out like that. You know, in the beginning, we weren't sure if this was going to work, because we tried some stuff in the beginning that was really horrible. Like, really, we tried one or two songs that we were like, this is sounding like a crazy, you know, people are playing songs at the same time. This is not working. But it ended up working, and we wrote, let's say, most of the album in 2 months.
Well, and
that's that.
And the first taste we got was the song that you mentioned, Diamonds and Dark, which I think I referred to as a maelstrom of epicness when I wrote the review.
Oh, wow.
I mean, because you start with that piano interlude, and then it's just like bam, and you've got like that big symphonic metal sort of vibe going, that sort of epicness. But again, you've got Max over there with that sort of genty guitar style, that bounciness and everything, and just all of this different nuance going on. And it was this wonderful introduction to who you guys are. And then, of course, you also just released the lyric video for The Race. So those are the first two songs we've had a chance to hear. Tell us a little bit about those two.
You mean in terms of the songwriting, or in terms of lyrics, or what exactly?
I always sort of love to know this. I know we all want people to have their own interpretation of the song, but what do those songs mean for you? What are those?
Okay,
what are they
so
about?
I would say that they are actually very important marks in the new Phantom Elite history, because they were actually the two first ones that we wrote for this album. So that's just how it is, you know. And the first ones that actually worked, and we were absolutely happy with it. And like I said, still released them as the first two singles, so we're still happy with how they turned out. But these are the songs also that we didn't, for some reason, it was just like everything just magically clicked with one another. I always like to joke that I wrote the vocal lines for Diamonds and Dark in, I think, 7 minutes or something, like from 5 to 10 minutes. And it just stayed, because the first thing I sang was, I've been looking for the answer. And I was like, that's the chorus right there, you know, like, I like it. I don't even need another alternative. And the boys were like, yeah, that's the chorus, you know, like it just clicked. Absolutely. And yeah, with the race, we all like kind of jammed everything together and recorded at Yuri's old place. So I think these two songs came out to be in a time where we were like really close. So we were really working to get physically together, because
Right.
at some point it wasn't possible anymore because of time. There was a lot of, you know, long distance songwriting, files back and forth, and we needed to hurry up because, you know, Frontiers had a deal offering us, and then but we ended up having, I don't know, 20 more ideas that were not used in this album. So
We
the
know there
next
will be a
one is
third album coming. But
already waiting. Yes.
speaking of thirds, I think there might
Yeah.
be a third video coming. Did you not just spend the weekend working on a video?
Oh yes, there is going to be a third, and there's going to be a fourth.
Are you allowed to say anything about the one you worked on this weekend, or does that have to remain secret for now?
Yeah, absolutely. The one that we worked on this weekend is still low key. It's still it's going to be another lyric video, of course, because what band has the budget, you know, and the
Right.
time to release 4 big productions before the release of the album? But some bands do have that budget, but we don't.
But hey, you've
And
got Max, so
yeah, I mean, who needs anything else? No. But this one we're gonna do, yeah, with also some, you know, singing involved in the
right,
lyric video. So we
a
want to
little
mix
bit
it up a
there.
little bit.
So, and I know all the songs on any album are like your children. You don't pick one more so than another, but honestly, as a creative entity, it always seems like there's one or two that resonate with you more than the others. Did you have that on this album, where there's one or two that are just like your favorite child that you don't want to tell the others?
Yeah, no, we're usually talking about that, by the way, and it changes with time. That's a
Right,
funny thing. But I think that we all agree on Diamonds and Dark.
right.
That's one of our favorites because it's such a good resume, you know, of the band. It's a little bit like, oh, here's, like, you know, in one song what we can do, what we're about. So that's a little bit like that. And there's also another song in the album called Silver Lining. It's a personal favorite of everybody in the band, and mine especially, because it came out of a very little shy idea that I had on the piano, you know, very rudimentary. And I just sounded like, oh, maybe this will turn into a song. And Max was like, well, yeah, I love it. Let me just put a riff underneath. And it turned into this genty, weird, dramatic thing that is on the album. And Amanda Somerville sings on it. So
Exactly. I was going to say your sister from Exit Eden is on there as
yes,
well.
exactly.
So,
And we also love Titanium, the track Titanium.
right, yeah, that thing is like a progressive beast.
Yes, it is. It is.
And honestly, if I had more time, I would go through every track on the album with you, but I know we don't. Our friend Hannes from Kiss and Dynamite, I believe, was somehow involved in the album, but
Yes.
it doesn't say anywhere in any of the press stuff what his involvement was. I don't hear him on it, I don't think, but I know he does production work. What did he do for the album?
No, unfortunately, he is too expensive for our budget as a producer. And he is insane. So someday I still want to go there with him as a producer. But he mixed.
He mixed, okay.
He mixed. Right. And of course, he can't help himself. So he was a big part of, you know, the sound of how well it's mixed. And, you know, even some production touches. I think he did that out of, you know, friendship, because friends with him, he's with Anna from Exit.
Oh, is it? And Amanda's with Sandra.
Yes, it's all like a family. Everybody knows each other. And so, yeah, I worked with Hannes for Exit Eden, and he's just he's so talented. He's so good at absolutely everything he does, really. And he's just super chill to work with. So I can always work with him. He's super cool.
I would be remiss before we left if I didn't ask about Exit Eden. We spoke to Clementine recently. She stated there would be a second album coming. It was one of my favorite albums when it came out, still is. what drew you to Exit Eden, and how much were you involved with choosing the songs for Rhapsodies in Black and with any of the song arrangements and such?
Yeah, right. I know that our answers might differ a little bit. Sometimes I don't know what Clementine told you, but I mean, I know that she told you that it would be a second album because
That's
she
pretty much all she told us.
told
And
me, yes, that I heard from her. But when it comes to Exit Eden, at least I personally like to make clear for the listeners that it's a completely different ballpark than, for example, Phantom Elite. You know,
Right.
Phantom Elite is like, of course, there's a difference in size, but also, you know, it's a project that belongs to us. You know,
Right.
I have, you know, contracts are, you know, under our names and things like that. Not Exit Eden, though. We were kind of, let's say, chosen, casted to be part
Right.
of this project. That, I mean, I'm not ashamed of saying that it was kind of a casting project, because it was. And it was only so good because they had that budget, you know, and they chose the right people to work on it. And Hannes produced lots of it with Elephant Music.
Right.
And they did a fantastic, amazing job. But by the time that, let's say, Clementine and me got there, Amanda was involved from the beginning a bit more, and Anna also as a demo singer. But Amanda also has a lot to say because the producers already worked with her. Everyone knows she is an amazing professional. So she also has a lot to, you know, to say when it comes to arrangements and things like that.
Right.
But that's not the case. Like with me, she called me to actually be part of it, which I'm eternally thankful for. And I mean, she's my friend, so I tell her all the time that she's my metal godmother. And Sander is my godfather, by the way. So basically, I own a lot to those two. And yeah, so she just called me like, oh, would you like to be part of this like huge thing that's going on? And I mean, it's huge. And I was like, yeah, of course. Why wouldn't I? I'm in. And so I auditioned for the producers, and they really liked it. And they thought, oh, okay, she can be used here and there, whatever. But that's how Exit Eden kind of came to be, you know. I do not have anything to do with all the wonderful arrangement decisions they made. I wish I had.
You just get to come in and sing your heart out with.
Yes, I wish I could tell you I did everything.
Right.
No.
What a diverse group of vocalists, though. I mean, Amanda's from the States, you're from Brazil, Anna is from Germany, where you're at now, and of course Clementine's from France, and you all have like these unique vocal styles, and they blend so amazingly well, but are still so diverse, and it just made for a hell of a record. And of course, I'm looking forward to the second one. Apparently, you guys don't really get any input put on any of the songs, but is there something you would like to cover? I mean, I know you used to do an Evanescence sort of a tribute thing, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's poppy enough for.
I think this second album from Exit Eden is gonna be it's gonna be different. I mean, the whole situation is different, the label is different, the people involved are different, the people in the management are different. So maybe Clementine already mentioned that it would be different. And to be 100% honest, I would like to give more information about it, but I myself do not know.
Right. Well, and it's still a little bit further away. We're here for Phantom Elite today anyway. Marina, before we get out of here, I do have to ask you one more question.
Please.
You recently sat down with your good friend Anna there on your little podcast, the third one, Keep It Real.
Yes.
You asked her funniest touring moment, which, by the way, she never actually answered.
She didn't. It's true.
So what was your funniest touring moment?
I don't know if I ever mentioned that, like in a tour. That I think that's what I asked her, if it would be like on a tour situation. It's so funny how things just, you know, you can't remember them when people ask you. But I don't think I mentioned that on my podcast. Maybe I did. That we were Phantom Elite in December last year and touring with Enemy Inside, and we forgot the bass player. in a he left the car to pee, and we just like left without him. Max driving, me in front, like super stressed, and Yuri in the back. Oh, guys, uh, Steve is still in there. Oh shit! It's like, what? That
Home
was
Alone, the touring edition.
exactly. And the worst is that he did not know about this until like 6 months after, when he heard in an interview. That's how he found out.
That's
He was like,
hilarious.
what? You guys forgot me?
Marina, a Phantom Elite, and of course Exit Eden, but Phantom Elite, the new album Titanium, coming out on January 22nd. Finally, fantastic record. Please get out, listen to the videos, buy the album, support the artists, since they can't tour right now and that's their bread and butter. It was an honor to get a chance to talk with you. Love everything that you're doing.
Thank you.
And I will let you get out of here to get on to the next one, but you be safe, stay healthy out there, and hopefully your family
You
as
too.
well. Take care.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye-bye.